So most days I stayed next to him, jabbering his ears off with my echoes, in the hopes that one day he'd try to talk back instead of just growling at me randomly. Bugbear's growls were the only random thing in all of Dungeon Home. Everything else was the same as the cycle before. Sometimes I wondered if I used to be like that. Did I once wander in endless circles like Bugbear did, long before my earliest memories? I like to think so. Maybe once I wasn't so weird. Maybe I was normal once, like Bugbear, the other creatures that roamed the halls, and Mama Boss Bear. Not anymore, though. Maybe not ever. There were no others in Dungeon Home like me, though there were several different bugbears who looked almost identical to Bugbear. None of them were him, though. He was special, if only a little. He paid attention to me every now and then. He was different, like me. I was Gell the Jellyfae, and I was lonely. I shook myself, my shocker waving in the air as I floated up a little higher to swirl around the warm, candlelit chandelier. The fire of the candles felt good to the touch, and I could hide within them if I wanted to. It was warm and cozy, one of my favorite spots. I often hid behind the fires as part of my instinct, too, but right now I was just enjoying the warmth. I curled up around the light fixture and waited there for almost a whole cycle before it grew a little too hot. The next time Bugbear walked by, I floated back down slowly. He turned toward me, staring with his big eyes and snorting hot air with his big nose as he noticed me again. "Well, it was good to see you, Bugbear. I'm gonna go see Mama Boss Bear. Talk to you later?" He snorted at me, which I took to mean yes. I lit myself up bright yellow, which he always seemed to enjoy, before floating away down the halls of Dungeon Home. Dungeon Home was just that. Home. The whole world, from the great open at the top with the strange green spiky floor and the hole in the sky where the stone ceiling should be, down to the big boss room where Mama Boss Bear sat on her throne looking bored all day. I slowly made my way through the many long hallways of stone. The blue torches burning with flame weren't nearly as warm as the chandelier, but that was probably why they didn't hurt me. I often couldn't resist camouflaging myself to disappear into them. I could sit right behind the candle flame and be completely invisible if I wanted, though I'd long since stopped trying to figure out what it was my instincts told me to hide from. It took effort sometimes to make myself go where I normally wouldn't. It was a little scary and a lot exciting. I felt like I was breaking the rules, though even that had become dull at some point. Nowadays, when I let my mind wander, I'd find myself automatically drifting back into those old patterns. Following the instinct that guided the cycle was easy. I didn't feel like it today, though. Today was a day for rule-breaking. Maybe I'd finally get up the guts to venture out into the big open on the top floor today. Probably not. That big blue ceiling so far away felt like I might just fall into it. Worse, every time I thought of venturing out, the scandalous feeling of breaking the rules went from mild excitement to gut-wrenching fear. More than once I'd been determined to leave through that otherworldly tunnel where the colors changed and the ceiling fell away, only to turn back upon the realization that there were some rules I shouldn't break. I might be different from the rest, but I belonged in Dungeon Home, with my family. I skipped my usual routine and floated through a metal door when Skeleton and Skeledog opened it. I'd long since timed everyone's path, and when they opened the doors, so slipping through them was easy. It had been so exciting when I discovered I could use doors whenever others opened them. I didn't have any hands like everyone else, just my shocker. But that wasn't so bad. Skeledog couldn't open them either, with his paws always on the ground, and none of them could float or fly. Most important of all, none of them could break the rules. I reached Mama Boss Bear's throne room with a lilt in my float. I bounced around happily, flitting between the bones that always littered Mama's cave floor. I'd wondered if those bones might become people like Skeleton if I arranged them properly, but when I'd actually done it, they never had. Instead, at the turnover time, they'd all